Lesson 11, Don Quixote and the Enchanted Helmet. Days passed, and still Don Quixote rode bareheaded, for as yet he had found no means to win a new helmet. One morning, as the knight and his squire were riding along a highway from a small village to a larger one, they saw a horseman coming slowly towards them. "See there!" cried Don Quixote. "Now I shall have an adventure that will bring me glory. I pray to God, Master, that it isn't like our last adventure, when you chased windmills thinking them to be giants," exclaimed Sancho. So the story begins where, like, this adventure begins when he looks for an ways, finds ways, means to find a new helmet because he was bareheaded. He was riding, he was on the journey without any helmet. Normally, a brave knight would wear helmet, and he did not have any one. And one morning, as uh, Don Quixote and his attendant Sancho, or the squire, his Sancho, were riding along a highway in search of uh, finding ways to win a new helmet. And they see a horseman coming slowly towards them. And looking at him, he shouts that, "Look there, see there!" Don Quixote shouts and feels very happy that he is going to have an adventure, and it is going to bring him glory, fame for him. So, hearing this, Sancho says that, "I pray to God that, Master, this time you win. This time you become successful in your adventure." Because if you remember, last time you were chasing the windmills, thinking them to be giants, monsters. You went to fight with the windmills, thinking they were giants, and he exclaimed it. So now he was wishing him best of luck, actually, making fun of him. "Silence, or I shall have you thrashed soundly." So, hearing this, he gets very angry and he says, "Be quiet, or I will punish you." Thrashed soundly means he was telling him that I'll punish you severely. "Don't you see that horseman?" said Don Quixote. "He is wearing something on his head that glitters like gold. See? Don't you see something is glittering on his head? If I am not wrong, he is a knight." So he calls him a knight because he is wearing something like a helmet. And it is Mambrino's helmet that he is wearing. And he himself made sure that it is Mambrino's helmet only, nothing else. Don Quixote had read in his books of chivalry about the Moorish king Mambrino. So, in his books of, when he loves reading, and he read many books of chivalry, and in those books he read about this Moorish king called Mambrino, who owned an enchanted golden helmet. Enchanted means which had magical power. Anyone who wore it could never be attacked. So, if anyone wore that helmet, could never be defeated by anyone, or no one dare to attack that person. "Are you sure you are not mistaken, Master?" So Sancho asked nervously. He was very nervous because Don Quixote was very angry. He was not. He was disagreeing to whatever he said. So very nervously asked. Sancho asked, Are you sure that this is him? This is his helmet? Not a chance, no ways. I'm 100% sure, he's saying. Not a chance, Sancho, Don Quixote said. For that knight who is riding towards us on his horse has a helmet of gold on his head. So he said, I'm very sure that that man is wearing a helmet which is of gold. So what did he do in his last adventure? He was chasing the windmills and he was trying to fight with them, thinking they were monsters, they were giants, and he was not successful in his adventure. Now let's continue our story. I don't see any knight, said Sancho. So hearing this, he said, I don't see any knight. I see only a common man riding a great donkey much like mine. So he said, no, he's just a common man who's riding a donkey like I have one, which is grey in color. There is something bright on the top of his head, but all that glitters is not gold. So here it's an idiom here used. All that glitters is not gold means everything that shines is not gold. So he's saying, no, master, he is not that man who is coming. Is just a common man. He is not a knight. And just because he's got something on his head doesn't make him a knight. I tell you, it is Mambrino's helmet, and it is gold, cried Don Quixote, growing angry. So now he said, no, I tell you, because I'm telling, that has to be the truth. You have to believe me. And because he was not believing him, so he got very angry now, Don Quixote. Now, the smaller of two villages had no barber. So, they were going from the smaller village to the larger village, and this smaller village had no barber, who rode over whenever he was wanted. So, whenever the people of smaller village needed him, he would ride to this smaller village and gave his service. Sometimes he was called to trim the men's beards, means to shave or to cut, give shape to the men's beard. Sometimes to dress the ladies' hair, to give style the hair of the ladies. But he was most often needed to bleed an ailing person, means he was called to cut the vein of a person who is suffering or who is sick. You know why they used to cut the vein of an ailing person? Because for in those times people believed that any illness could be cured by opening means cutting a vein means nerve of a sick person, and letting out the bad blood. So they used to think that there is this bad blood which has caused him to fall sick. So if we take that bad blood, he would be cured. He can be cured. So they used to cut the vein and take out the blood and catch it in the brass basin. So for this purpose, he was carrying this brass basin. So the barber always had a brass basin to catch the blood as it flowed from the patient's arm. This basin was always kept very clean, because he used to catch blood in this of a sick person. So he used to keep it very clean, the barber. The basin was always kept very clean. The knight on the galloping horse was none other than the barber riding his grey donkey to visit his patients in the smaller village. So, what Don Quixote was thinking to be a knight was none other than the barber. So Sancho was right. He was just a common man. He was not a knight. He was going to smaller village to cure one sick person.